My friend, I want you to pause for a moment and consider this truth. God is not finished with you yet. No matter how many locked doors you've faced, no matter how long you've been waiting, no matter how many people have told you it won't happen, I'm here to remind you that your waiting is not wasted. You see, sometimes God allows us to stand in the hallway of life. We knock, we pray, we fast, and still the door seems closed. And in those moments, it's easy to feel forgotten. But let me tell you something powerful today. God does some of His greatest work in the waiting room. While you think nothing is happening, He is rearranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and preparing the exact door that only you can walk through. When God opens a door, no man, no circumstance, no devil in hell can shut it. Revelation 3:8 says, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." That's not just a verse, that's a promise. And if God promised it, you can be sure He is faithful to bring it to pass. When we look at our lives, it's easy to measure progress by the ticking of the clock or the turning of the calendar. We say things like, "By this age, I should have achieved this," or "By now, I thought I'd already be there." And when those expectations aren't met, frustration builds, disappointment sets in, and sometimes we begin to believe the lie that maybe God has forgotten about us. But let me assure you today, God's timing is never late, and His plan is always on schedule. Think about the farmer who plants a seed. He waters it, he nurtures it, and he waits. He doesn't rush to dig it up the next morning to see if it has grown. He trusts the unseen process because he knows the seed is working underground even when there's no visible evidence. In the same way, God has planted promises, dreams, and purposes inside of you. You may not see the growth yet, but beneath the surface, things are moving, aligning, and preparing for the moment of harvest. His timing is perfect, and just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't happening. We often want microwave blessings, instant results, and overnight breakthroughs. But God doesn't work on our human timetable. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the one who sees the end from the beginning. He knows the exact season when you're ready, the precise moment when the opportunity will meet your preparation. Sometimes a delay is not a denial, but rather a divine alignment. You might think you're ready now, but God knows there are still pieces being placed, still people being positioned, still doors being built so that when He opens them, everything flows in harmony. Look at the life of Abraham. God promised him that he would be the father of many nations, but that promise didn't come to pass overnight. It took years of waiting, years of believing, years of walking in faith when the evidence seemed impossible. Yet, when the time was right, God fulfilled His word. The waiting was not wasted, it was preparation. And when Isaac was born, it was clear that the fulfillment of that promise was the work of God's perfect timing. Or consider Joseph. As a young man, he received dreams of greatness, but instead of stepping directly into leadership, he faced betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. To the natural eye, it seemed like God's plan was delayed, even derailed. But in reality, every setback was a setup. Every delay was positioning Joseph to be in the exact place he needed to be when the famine struck Egypt. Had Joseph been promoted too early, he wouldn't have been ready to handle the responsibility. But when the timing aligned, Joseph was not only elevated to power, he was able to save countless lives. That is what perfect timing looks like. God's timing is often different from ours because He sees what we cannot see. You may be frustrated right now, wondering why things haven't opened up for you, why the opportunity hasn't come, or why the dream feels delayed. But trust this: God is not withholding good things from you. He is preparing you for what's ahead. He is ensuring that when you walk through that door, you will not just enter, you will thrive. Sometimes what feels like waiting is actually God protecting you. If He opened that door too soon, it could crush you instead of bless you. If He gave you that promotion, that relationship, that opportunity before you were ready, it might destroy you instead of lift you higher. But because He loves you, He waits until your character can sustain your calling, until your faith can handle the fulfillment, until your roots are deep enough to hold the fruit. So instead of resenting the wait, embrace it. Use this season to grow, to prepare, to draw closer to God. Keep praying, Keep sowing, keep serving, keep trusting. Because every second you spend waiting is not wasted. It is an investment into the destiny God has written for you. His word declares in Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. That means when the door finally opens, it will not just be on time, it will be the perfect time. I want to encourage you today, don't give up in the hallway. Don't walk away because the door hasn't opened yet. You are closer than you think. What feels like delay is often the final stretch before breakthrough. When God says now, no power on earth can stop it. And when He does it, it will happen so suddenly that you'll look back and realize all the waiting, all the tears, all the nights of doubt were worth. One of the hardest things to understand in life is when a door we prayed for, hoped for, and even worked for closes in front of us. It feels disappointing. It feels painful. Sometimes it even feels like rejection. But what we often fail to realize in the moment is that a closed door is not God's punishment, it is God's protection. He is not trying to rob you of a blessing. He is trying to shield you from something that could harm you, distract you, or derail the plan He has for your life. Think about how many times you wanted something so badly only to look back later and thank God that you didn't get it. Maybe it was a relationship that ended, a job you didn't receive, an opportunity that fell apart, or a dream that seemed delayed. At the time, you might have cried, questioned, and felt forgotten. But then as time passed, you realized that if that door had opened, it would have taken you down a path you were never meant to walk. That's the wisdom of God. He sees the danger on the other side of the door, and in His love, He keeps it closed. The Bible gives us a powerful example of this in the book of Acts. Paul and his companions wanted to preach in Asia, but the Holy Spirit did not allow them. They tried again in Bithynia, but once more the Spirit of Jesus said no. To Paul, those were closed doors. He might have been frustrated in the moment, but later he received a vision calling him to Macedonia. That closed door redirected him to the exact place where God wanted him, and as a result, countless lives were changed. What looked like a barrier was actually divine guidance and protection. Closed doors protect us from premature opportunities. Not every good thing is a God thing, and not every open door is meant to be walked through. Sometimes the enemy himself tries to lure us into opportunities that look attractive but are designed to trap us. But when God shuts that door, it is His way of saying, I have something better. Trust me. Imagine if you had taken that job that seemed promising but would have crushed your spirit. Imagine if you had entered that relationship that looked perfect on the outside but was filled with heartbreak. Imagine if you had forced your way into a path that looked bright but led only to destruction. God knows what you don't know, and in His mercy, He blocks the way. Closed doors also protect us from moving too quickly. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast success, instant results, quick fixes. But the kingdom of God often works through process, patience, and preparation. If the door opened before you were ready, it could overwhelm you instead of promote you. God closes it because He wants you to be equipped, strengthened, and matured before you step into that new level. What feels like delay is often God's way of building the foundation strong enough to carry the weight of your destiny. When a door closes, our natural reaction is to push harder. We knock louder. We force our way in. We beg God to change His mind. But wisdom says, if God closed it, let it stay closed. Trust that His plan is greater than your desire. Trust that His protection is better than your own perception. He knows where every path leads, and He is too faithful to let you walk into something that will destroy you. Closed doors are also a sign that God has something specific prepared just for you. Sometimes He closes good doors so He can lead you to the right one. That's why you can't compare your journey with anyone else's. Just because a door opened for them doesn't mean it was meant for you. You are unique. Your calling is unique, and the door God has for you will fit only you. When it opens, you will know without a doubt that it was handcrafted by the Lord Himself. So instead of seeing closed doors as rejection, start seeing them as direction. Instead of complaining about what didn't work out, start thanking God for protecting you. Instead of mourning what you lost, start anticipating what He is preparing. Because every no is making room for a greater yes. Every closed door is leading you closer to the right one. Every disappointment is pointing you toward divine appointment. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and see the fingerprints of God all over those closed doors. You'll realize that He loved you too much to let you settle for less than His best. You'll see that His protection was not rejection. It was preparation for something greater. Waiting is one of the greatest tests of faith. We live in a world where everything is designed to be quick, fast food, instant messaging, next day delivery. We are conditioned to expect immediate results. But God's ways are not our ways, and His timing does not bend to human impatience. Waiting is part of His process, and in the waiting, faith is either strengthened or weakened. It is in the hallway between promise and fulfillment where we discover what we truly believe about God. When God gives you a promise, there is usually a gap before you see it come to pass. That gap is not a mistake, it's intentional. It is in the waiting season that He develops your character, deepens your trust, and refines your heart. Faith is not proven when everything happens instantly. Faith is proven when you can hold on to God's word even when nothing seems to change. Hebrews 11:1 tells us, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." If you can see it, it doesn't require faith. But when you can't see it, when you can't feel it, and when the evidence looks like the opposite of what God promised, yet you still believe, that is true faith. Think about Noah. God told him to build an ark because a flood was coming, something the world had never seen. For years, Noah built in faith while others mocked him. The waiting was long, but his faith didn't waver. And when the rain finally fell, Noah's obedience during the waiting season became the very thing that saved him and his family. What you do in the waiting matters. Complaining, doubting, or giving up will only drain your strength. But choosing to trust, to obey, to keep moving forward, that's what positions you for breakthrough. David was anointed as king while still a shepherd boy, but he didn't step into the throne immediately. He spent years in the wilderness, serving, hiding, running from Saul. To the natural eye, it didn't make sense. Why wait if God already promised the crown? But during that season, God was shaping David into a man after His own heart. The waiting built courage, humility, and dependence on God. And when the time came, David didn't just inherit a throne. He stepped into it prepared to reign. Faith in the waiting is about learning to rest in God's character, even when His timing is unclear. It means saying, "Lord, I don't understand why it's taking so long, but I trust that You are faithful." It's believing that His silence is not absence, and His delay is not denial. Many people miss their breakthrough because they give up too soon. They stop praying, stop believing, and walk away when they were just one step away from the open door. But those who endure, those who hold on, those who keep their faith alive in the waiting, they will see the goodness of the Lord. Waiting also teaches us dependence. If God gave you everything instantly, you would start to rely on your own strength. But when you're forced to wait, you learn to lean on Him daily. You learn to pray more, to worship deeper, to listen closer. Waiting humbles us and keeps us connected to the source of our strength. It reminds us that blessings are not earned by effort alone, but received through faith and trust in God's plan. Another truth about waiting is that it shifts our perspective. Sometimes we are so focused on the destination that we miss the lessons of the journey. Waiting reveals hidden things in us, impatience, pride, fear, and gives us the opportunity to surrender them to God. It transforms us so that by the time the promise comes, we are not only ready to receive it, but ready to steward it well. The blessing is never just about arriving, it's about becoming who God designed you to be along the way. So what should you do in the waiting? Keep sowing seeds of faith. Keep speaking God's promises. Keep moving forward with excellence where you are now. Waiting doesn't mean inactivity. It means active trust. A farmer doesn't stop working just because he hasn't seen the harvest yet. He waters, tends, and cultivates the ground in faith, knowing the season of reaping will surely come. Likewise, you must keep nurturing your faith, knowing that in due season you will reap if you faint not. You might feel weary today because the waiting has been long. You might be tempted to think God has forgotten about you. But let me remind you, faith grows strongest in the waiting. Every day you choose to believe in the face of delay, your faith roots grow deeper. Every prayer you whisper when nothing seems to change is building endurance in your spirit. Every tear you cry while still holding on to hope is watering the seed of your promise. The waiting room is not wasted time. It is holy ground where God shapes your character, increases your faith, and prepares you for the fulfillment of His word. Don't despise it. Don't rush it. Don't give up in it. Instead, embrace it as the place where miracles are born, because when the door finally opens and the promise is fulfilled, you will look back and realize the waiting made you stronger, wiser, and more anchored in God. And you will testify that faith in the waiting was not in vain. It was the very thing that carried you to the breakthrough you were longing for. One of the most powerful truths you can ever hold on to is this: when God opens a door in your life, nothing and no one can shut it. People may try. Circumstances may rise against you. The enemy may throw every weapon he has at you. But if the Creator of the universe has decided to open a way, it is unstoppable. Revelation 3:58 says, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." That verse is not just poetry. It is a declaration of God's authority over your destiny. So often we live with the fear that others hold the keys to our future. A boss, a leader, a family member, or even an enemy. We convince ourselves that if someone doesn't approve of us, if someone closes us out, if someone denies us, then we are finished. But hear me today, people, do not control your destiny. God does. If He has chosen to bless you, to promote you, to elevate you, no one can cancel it. They may resist, but they cannot override God's will. Look at Joseph's life. His brothers threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, and tried to erase his future. Later, false accusations landed him in prison. To the natural eye, it seemed like every door was slammed shut. But Joseph's destiny wasn't in the hands of his brothers, Potiphar, or Pharaoh's officials. It was in the hands of God. And when the appointed time came, God opened a door so wide that Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister in a single day. That is what happens when God opens a door. No man can shut it. Sometimes people will try to block you because of jealousy, insecurity, or misunderstanding. They may gossip, oppose you, or shut you out of opportunities. But even if they slam doors in your face, God has doors they cannot touch. If He needs to, He will create a brand new door where there wasn't one before. He will open a pathway in the wilderness, rivers in the desert, and opportunities out of nowhere. You don't have to manipulate, beg, or strive. Just stay faithful and trust that God's hand is stronger than man's opposition. This truth also frees you from the fear of missing out. So many people live anxious, worried that they missed their chance, that someone else took their opportunity, or that the window has closed forever. But if the door was truly yours, no one else can take it. What God ordains for you is designed with your name on it, and it will not fit anyone else. No man, no system, no agenda can stop it. If it hasn't opened yet, it means the time isn't right, not that it's gone. God's timing is perfect, and His doors swing wide exactly when they should. Consider Daniel in the lion's den. His enemies plotted against him, set traps, and thought they had silenced him forever. But the God who opens doors of deliverance shut the mouths of lions instead. The very thing meant to destroy him became the stage for God's power to be revealed. The king himself declared that Daniel's God was the true and living God. You see, no opposition can stand against the hand of God. When He opens a door of protection, you are untouchable. The same truth applies to your calling and purpose. Sometimes fear whispers that you're unqualified, unworthy, or too late. But if God has called you, He will open doors that no ray, some may, no degree, and no human approval could open. He equips the called, and He makes a way where there is none. Moses stood before the Red Sea with an enemy army closing in behind him. It looked impossible. But God opened a door through the sea itself. That wasn't a door man could open. It was a supernatural move of God. You may be standing in front of a closed situation right now. a dream that feels impossible, a future that seems uncertain, or a challenge that looks too great. But I want you to lift your faith today and declare, if God opens the door, nothing can shut it. Your job is not to worry about how it will open. Your job is to stay ready, stay faithful, and trust His hand. When the door opens, it will not be by human strength, but by divine power. And here is the beauty of it when God opens a door. It doesn't just bless you. It also confounds your enemies. Those who doubted you, those who opposed you, those who tried to push you down will see that it was God who lifted you up. And in the end, He will receive the glory. So stop living in fear of what people can do to you. Stop worrying about closed doors and missed chances. The same God who holds the keys of David is holding the keys to your future. What He opens, no man can shut. And when that door swings wide, you won't have to force it, you won't have to beg for it, and you won't have to fight for it. You will simply walk through it in victory, knowing that it was God who made the way. We all long for promotion. We want the breakthrough, the blessing, the opportunity, the moment when everything comes together. And that desire is not wrong. God Himself has placed greatness inside of you. He has destined you for more than ordinary living. But what many people overlook is that before every promotion, there is a season of preparation. God doesn't just open doors to give you a blessing. He prepares you so that when you walk through that door, you can carry the weight of it without crumbling. Preparation is often uncomfortable. It feels like waiting, stretching, and sometimes even like being overlooked. But what you call delay, God calls development. He knows what's ahead of you, and He refuses to let you step into something you're not ready for. It's not because He wants to withhold from you. It's because He loves you too much to let a blessing turn into a burden. Think of David again. As a young shepherd, he was anointed to be king. But instead of immediately wearing a crown, he went back to tending sheep. On the surface, it looked like a step backward. But in reality, God was preparing him. The fields became his training ground. It was in the quiet hills that David learned courage by fighting lions and bears. It was in solitude that he developed intimacy with God through worship. It was in obscurity that he grew the skills he would later need as a warrior and leader. By the time he stood before Goliath, David wasn't just a boy with a slingshot. He was a man prepared by God. His preparation made his promotion possible. God uses seasons of preparation to test and refine our hearts. Sometimes we want the platform, but our pride isn't yet broken. We want influence, but our character still needs shaping. We want success, but our discipline hasn't caught up. If God gave us everything too soon, it could destroy us. That's why He allows us to go through wilderness seasons, hidden seasons, and waiting seasons. These are not punishments, they are classrooms, and every lesson is designed to equip us for what's ahead. Joseph's story is another powerful example. He had dreams of greatness as a teenager, but he wasn't ready to handle them. He had to endure betrayal, slavery, and prison. Each stage was a test of character. Would he remain faithful when it felt unfair? Would he honor God when everything seemed against him? Would he use his gift of interpreting dreams even in prison? Because Joseph proved faithful in preparation, God promoted him to a position where he could save nations. His preparation built the wisdom, humility, and resilience that his promotion required. Preparation also means pruning. Jesus said in John 15 that every branch that bears fruit will be pruned so that it can bear more fruit. Pruning doesn't feel pleasant. It means cutting away attitudes, habits, relationships, and even opportunities that don't align with your destiny. But it's necessary. You cannot carry old baggage into new seasons. The weight of yesterday cannot follow you into tomorrow. God prunes you so that when the door of promotion opens, you walk through it lighter, stronger, and fully aligned with His will. It's important to remember that preparation is not wasted time. Every job you worked, every challenge you faced, every tear you cried, every small victory you won, all of it was preparing you for something bigger. God is strategic. Nothing in your life is random. Even the seasons that felt meaningless were sharpening skills, shaping character, and building endurance. You may not see it now, but when the promotion comes, you'll realize that the preparation was essential. The problem is that many people want promotion without preparation. They want the reward without the responsibility. They want the stage without the sacrifice. But lasting promotion doesn't work that way. God is not just interested in getting you there. He's interested in keeping you there. And what keeps you there is not talent or charm. It's character, discipline, humility, and faithfulness. Those are forged in the preparation season. So what do you do while you're waiting for promotion? Be faithful where you are. Excellence in the small things prepares you for greater things. David didn't neglect his sheep just because he was anointed as king. He continued to serve with diligence. Joseph didn't stop interpreting dreams just because he was in prison. He continued to use his gift. Wherever you are now, in your job, in your family, in your ministry, serve with all your heart. Your preparation is your seed, and your promotion will be the harvest. Promotion is coming, but don't rush it. Don't despise the preparation season. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Trust that God knows the exact moment you're ready. When the time is right, no one can stop it. But until then, embrace the process. Let Him shape you, strengthen you, and refine you. Because when that door finally opens, you won't just step into a new season. You'll step in with the maturity, wisdom, and strength to remain there. You'll carry not just the blessing, but the character to sustain it. And when people look at you, they'll see more than someone promoted. They'll see someone prepared by the hand of God. When God opens a door in your life, it is never just about you. It's bigger than your comfort, bigger than your dreams, bigger than your personal success. Every open door God provides is connected to a greater purpose, His purpose. He blesses you not only so you can walk in abundance, but so that your life can impact others, point people to Him, and fulfill the assignment He has written over your days. The open door is an invitation into something far greater than what you imagined. So often, when we pray for open doors, our focus is on what we want: a job, a relationship, financial breakthrough, healing, or a specific opportunity. There's nothing wrong with those desires. God delights in giving good gifts to His children. But the truth is, every open door has layers of purpose. When God opens that door, yes, it will bless you, but it will also position you to bless others. It will expand your influence, magnify your testimony, and become a channel through which His glory flows. Take Esther, for example. She walked through an open door into the palace, crowned as queen. At first, it seemed like a personal blessing, a promotion that elevated her above everyone else. But the greater purpose was revealed when her people faced annihilation. Esther realized that her position wasn't just for her comfort, it was for her calling. She was in the palace for such a time as this. The door God opened for her was about saving a nation. That's the kind of God we serve. He opens doors that connect your life to something far greater than yourself. Joseph's story also reveals this truth. God promoted him from the prison to the palace, but the purpose wasn't simply so Joseph could wear royal robes or enjoy authority. It was so he could preserve lives during a famine and ultimately fulfill the promise God made to Abraham's descendants. His open door was about provision for multitudes. What looked like a personal breakthrough was actually a divine strategy to bless nations. Sometimes we get so caught up in celebrating our breakthrough that we forget to ask, Lord, what is the greater purpose behind this blessing? The job you prayed for may not just be about a paycheck. It may be about influencing the workplace with integrity and faith. The healing you received may not just be for your comfort. It may be so your testimony strengthens others to believe in miracles. The door that opened for you may not just elevate your platform. It may give you the ability to speak life, hope, and truth into people who would never hear it otherwise. Understanding that an open door leads to greater purpose changes how you walk through it. You step in with humility, knowing this isn't just about you. You step in with responsibility, aware that others are connected to your obedience. You step in with gratitude, realizing that God has entrusted you with influence that must be stewarded well. This perspective also gives strength in seasons of waiting. When the door hasn't opened yet, You can trust that God isn't just thinking about you. He's orchestrating a plan that involves countless lives. He knows the exact timing when your breakthrough will align with the blessing of others. That's why His timing is perfect. It's not only for your benefit, but for the ripple effect your obedience will have in the world around you. When you step through the open door God provides, don't just ask, "What can I gain?" Ask, "Who can I serve? Who can I encourage? Who can I impact?" Because the blessing was never meant to stop with you. It was meant to flow through you. You are a vessel, and every open door is an opportunity to pour out what God has poured into you. Think about Jesus feeding the 5,000. He opened a door of provision through one boy's small lunch. That miracle didn't just feed one family. It fed a multitude and displayed the power of God. That's the essence of God's open doors: multiplication, impact, and glory for His name. So when your breakthrough comes, remember this truth: the open door is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new assignment. It is God positioning you not only to walk in your promise, but to fulfill His kingdom purpose. And when you live with that perspective, your life becomes bigger than your own dreams. It becomes a testimony that points people to the one who opens doors no man can shut. The open door leads to greater purpose, a purpose that outlives you, a purpose that blesses others, a purpose that glorifies God. So walk through boldly, not just for yourself, but for every life your obedience will touch.